Shut up and sit down.
You're listening to the Cheaters Never Pin podcast, a proud part of the Section 328 family. Follow us on Twitter at CheatersInVRPin. Now, live from ringside, it's Mr. Workrate and JC. Well, good evening, everybody, or morning, or whatever time you're listening to this.
It's everything somewhere, depending on your time
Yeah.
zone.
Time is just relative.
What was that voice?
What the hell's going on?
I'm so confused.
JC, what did you do?
I don't know. We have an intruder.
That can't be.
That was rude.
That's not you, and that's
not
not me.
I'm cashing in a podcast Money in the Bank.
Oh, snap. Well, you know the main two voices you just heard. I'm JC, and that's my buddy Tom over there. And our special guest, friend of the podcast, Kris, at Trash Newton on Twitter.
Hey, what's up, everyone? I'm here as a member of the 205 Live Cheaters Never Pin. Hoping to get over, pop a rating, and come back.
So if you want to get over and you're from 205 Live, you just got to keep going, Anyway, yeah, so welcome to Cheaters Never Pin. Kris, welcome to Cheaters
for
Never
having
Pin.
me.
Yeah, you're welcome,
Very
buddy.
excited.
This is the #1 wrestling podcast recorded in Durham, North Carolina.
I think that's
it.
accurate.
Accurate.
We'll have to get statistics later.
Yeah.
Crunch the numbers.
I can, sure. It could be fake news. I don't care. Sounds good to me.
We'll get Tulsky on it to measure the numbers and get the analytics team involved.
There you go.
Oh, but let's get the prerequisites out of the way before we talk about Backlash and Takeover and the 10 count and
Oh, right, wrestling.
yes, a very special match exchange and my T-shirt by my T-shirt. Get ready for
You
that.
do
Tom.
have a T-shirt
I have
now.
a T-shirt.
That's
We'll save that plug.
yet another thing to plug.
Yes. Anyway, if you like us, or if you don't like us, I don't really give a shit. Go to facebook.com/cheatersneverpin and click that big blue thumb and give us a like.
And we're earning that little square E in our podcast thing already.
Follow us on Twitter at CheatersInVRPin. All right.
I have no comment to that. I mean,
I was just waiting.
you
I
know,
didn't know.
Twitter. Yes.
Sometimes you
it's
have a
the
witty
birdie thing.
Sometimes you have a witty retort when I'm doing these.
Well, nah, I had nothing there. I couldn't even think of the word square 15 seconds ago. So
We're off to a stellar start this evening. This is why we had to bring a third person in. Because
eventually to take over.
I've been able to unable to type all day. Tom can't think of words.
Kris, does that make you Tom Phillips?
Oh, no. There's going to be no face fucking on this episode, so.
Jesus. And if you like that comment, make sure to rate, review, and subscribe on any platform you're listening to us on, including iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, TuneIn, SoundCloud, YouTube, and Spreaker.
Thank God I've been drinking.
Woo. Yeah, so we got a packed show tonight, and I guess we might as well just get into it, because I know everybody has been waiting on bated breath since 11 o'clock Sunday night, when the reign of the modern-day Maharaja began.
I thought you were going to say modern day warrior and be like, Kerry Von Erich has risen from the dead.
There's still got to be one or two Von Erichs floating around somewhere, right? They all haven't gone to the barn, have they?
Kevin's still around because he didn't wear shoes.
Oh, there you go. That's true. So, yeah, Jinder Mahal is the new WWE champion. We'll just go around the table.
I mean, what do you... Between the three of us, I think we're somewhat in favor of this.
Oh, I'm in favor of not having a belt on Randy Orton, so that's kind of what helps there. And
Agreed.
And Jinder having a belt, I mean, it's less specifically Jinder having a belt, but it's more going in a direction that they haven't necessarily gone before.
Right.
had the belt on Randy Orton 13 times already. We've had kind of the same people passing around the title over the last few years. Ginger's at least a little bit of a different direction. Let's see where we go with this. So I'm open for trying anything new.
Yeah, like with Randy Orton, I feel that he's a very safe champion. Like if I can toss out a quick hockey analogy, he's like your second line center that gets you 20 goals and 20 assists every season. It's good, but it's not really moving the needle in either direction. And I think by taking a risk on Ginger, you continue to show that, SmackDown's the land of opportunity, and it really adds to the unpredictability of nature of the show.
Yep, and in a time where ratings are sluggish and interest is waning in the product, like, it's something new, it's something different. People are talking about it. I mean, they showed before and not that there aren't headlines on Fox Sports and every sports site anyway now about wrestling, but there remain headlines about it. And if you looked at Reddit, if you looked at Squared Circle, the moment after it happened, the place was blowing up.
Yeah,
like
I couldn't get on it for a few minutes.
They even locked it down in protest. But people are talking. Like, it's huge news, and especially looking at their want to expand in India. We can kind of get into this. Like, is this the right move to do this in India? Because he's being presented as a heel on TV. Yeah. And I know they have the Hindi commentary teams presenting him as a babyface.
Right.
But that seems very contradictory to his actions in the ring and the way he presents himself.
I don't know, because, I mean, it's starting to smell a little bit like the Bret Hart Canadian angle of 96, 97 there.
Literally made that exact comment to JC before we started recording. Yep.
Yeah, and I mean it's just what it is, and especially, I mean, I rewatched SmackDown about an hour and a half ago, just to kind of keep it fresh in my mind, and I listened to Jinder's promo, or at least him trying to get out his promo. Drink some water, dude.
Have a lozenge.
Yeah, Ricola.
But I mean, that was the kind of promo that he cut, was just like, well, you're booing me because you don't like who I am. Not because of any reason except for the fact that, where I'm from and that I'm different. And that, I mean, they've tried to do this a couple other times. I mean, that was the Muhammad Hassan gimmick way back when originally, when they first went with that, and then kind of went, you know what? People aren't necessarily going to get it. Please be a terrorist. But I like the direction, because again, you're going A versus B now, and not it's so easy to get a wrestling crowd to just start the USA chant and to get against anybody who's not American, just because that's how wrestling crowds are.
Yeah.
And but to have what's basically the number 2 market in India, to kind of cater to that and have him be a positive, just go all out, have him do the tour of India, fly him over, maybe not defend the title or even show up on SmackDown, but show the video of him going to India. And instead of that permanent scowl that he has on his face, put him on local news shows and that type of thing, and being all friendly and just doing the positive PR over in India, but at the same time coming back here, and he's still going to get booed mercilessly. It just, there's a lot of potential here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in favor for it just because I think WWE, and to their credit, I'm normally very critical of, industry or organizations that aren't very culturally aware of or sensitive to other cultures. I feel that they handled the Punjabi celebration very tastefully. And I mean, they really don't have the best track record with dealing with, non-white personalities or non-white superstars. And I think there is that Bret Hart duality where, he's a huge heel here, but if he goes to India, he would be a face. And I appreciate that they're not doing he's a foreigner, he has to be, some incredibly racist stereotype or stupid trope. And I think that there is a lot of potential there with him because, I mean, me, myself, I'm Hispanic, and I like to see wrestlers that are of, you know, Latinx backgrounds that aren't just like, hey, I'm the cool flippy Mexican guy. Like, I like to see characters that are well built and robust, and they use their cultural influence to help round out their character instead of their cultural influence defining them as a character. And I think Ginger's on the right track of showing that, like, he is a wrestler that is Indian and not an Indian that is a wrestler.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. They just have to make sure, and I hope that's the direction they take it, and I hope they don't pigeonhole him into being a chicken shit heel who uses the Singh brothers all the time to win his matches. Because that's not going to make him babyface in any territory.
Yeah.
So also I wanted to ask, so you're not a fan of the Mexicools? Yeah.
While we're on the topic of this, I just wanted to talk about, how do you feel about the title making the wrestler or the wrestler making the title?
That's a tough one. I think generally, especially in this day and age, where we've got the two brands and they each have, you know, 3 main singles titles and a tag title, that it's up to the wrestler to get that belt over, because there are so many now. And they're very much in the position that UFC is in, and the fact that there are so many titles, and in UFC's case, so many interim titles floating about, to where it doesn't really mean anything because so many people are being heralded as special and as champion, that you have to have someone with the personality, and in the case of professional wrestling, the work style and the charisma to really showcase themselves as why they're holding that belt, rather than just being Randy Orton and having the belt because he can.
Yeah. I think what's really cool... Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, it reminds me of the way boxing was in that sense. And I guess it still kind of is, how it splintered off into the various federations, and you didn't just have heavyweight champion. You had the IBC heavyweight champion. You had the WBC champion. And then, like, I mean, I grew up in the era of Mike Tyson, where Mike Tyson pretty much just came into the heavyweight division and said, well, I'm going to punch everyone repeatedly until they die. And then he took all the belts and brought them all together to become the undisputed heavyweight champion. And I think that's ideally, if you want to have a true, like, measured champion, that's the direction to go in. We've got this universal championship, and that's, I guess, fine. I don't even know necessarily with the Intercontinental Championship as well, because you have the second tier titles. You have the US and the Intercontinental. Technically, you have the Universal, which is defended once every Universal turn, I guess. And then you have the WWE Championship. So you have two titles that are essentially the same, and I've never liked the way that they've done that, because you had that before when you had the various brand splits with the WWE Championship and the big gold belt, which was the World Championship. And there's a lot of, like, vague indistinction between the two of them, where it's like, well, he's a 6-time world champion, but a 7-time world heavyweight champion, which is a completely different title. It gets confusing, and it's, well, which one is more? You have one organization, so you should have technically one champion, and then everything kind of falls below that. So I would like to see kind of like a unified champion, and then that's going to be the championship that can make the particular person, in contrast to right now, it's got to be the person making the championship at this point.
Yeah, that was my hope when the brand extension draft originally occurred, was that the men's champ, the women's champ, and the tag champs would float, and then you could split up the mid-card belts between shows. Because that way, you can have a top feud that drives each show with those mid-card belts, but then depending on the situation and the timing and everything, you could move those other champions around, and there would always be fresh feuds because they could bounce around wherever the booking wanted to go at any point in time.
Yeah. What I think is really cool about Jinder being the current champion, and with just the direction of SmackDown writing, is we're not even talking about 2 months ago that Jinder is like jobbing out on Raw and concussing Finn Balor. And then, basically they brought him over and did this makeover, and he's getting legit heat in main event matches. Like, there was "Let's go Jinder sucks" chants like during the main event of Backlash. And what's great is they built him up so fast that even if they were to take the title off of him, let's say in an upcoming SmackDown or even at Money in the Bank, they built so much clout with him, I feel, that he can basically float around in the mid-card to upper mid-card for about like 6 months, just based upon him beating Randy Orton. You know what I mean? And I think that's the right rub you want to give someone, because, I mean, Jinder's only 30 years old, like, which is insane to think of. And the fact that they basically took one of Raw's scraps and now put, I would say, a top 4 heel on SmackDown within 6 months, like, speaks volumes to how well they can handle a character with proper booking.
Yeah, and that's been their issue for quite a while now, is the inability to organically book someone to rise within the ranks. You know, the last time that happened, and it was a complete accident, was Daniel Bryan. You know, someone who and just through the sheer will of the crowd and the way he worked and everything, became a fan favorite. And in this case with Jinder, it's, you know, a heat magnet, which is just as well. You've got to have strong heels. But
absolutely,
the ability, and they did this one, whereas Daniel was controlled by the fans.
Absolutely,
like, they have the talent and the skill set to do that, and they need to do more of that. And
agreed.
It's because they backed off on the 50-50 booking of him.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, they made him look strong in back-to-back weeks, and they put the title on him. Like, if he drops the title at Money in the Bank, he's still a valid threat for the next 4 or 5 months, just because, he's a former heavyweight champion.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah, I mean, and that's been SmackDown's whole thing, was that when they had the brand extension draft originally, it wasn't a 50-50 split. It was more the star power was centered around Raw, and you had a handful of people on SmackDown. They stuck Cena on SmackDown, which wasn't necessarily going to be much of a thing because he wasn't going to be around all the time. But you had less star power on SmackDown, so you had to do something. But that's been something that's, since they've been doing brand splits for years now, that for whatever reason, SmackDown's always seemed to be like the secondary show with not as many workers that are names necessarily. So it becomes the work rate type show, or it becomes like, you know, like back when it was Eddie and Benoit.
Yeah, the SmackDown 6.
Yeah, it was, I mean, that's what it was. It was built on not the traditional stuff. Like Raw has always meant to be the traditional stuff that we felt worked, where SmackDown was maybe we can experiment a little bit, and it seems like they're going to this again.
Right. Well, that's Vince sitting in a room somewhere going, "Oh God damn it! It's only 2 hours long.
Where's my steak wrap?"
Yep.
And, you know, and back in the original brand split, it was, well, it's on tape. Nobody gives a shit. And now, you know, now it's live. Now it's got, you know, SmackDown is at the highest ratings it's ever been, even though it's sliding itself. But, you know, the interest is there. And you don't have part of the growth of SmackDown is the fact that it was the show without the authority figures emasculating every single member of the roster.
Right. And I think they handle authority figures pretty well currently. Like, anytime Shane O'Mac comes out, it's to announce, you know, whatever the stipulation or, you know, the big sell is for the next pay-per-view. And before that, it was the shakeup. And before that, it was him and Mania. Like, it's not like SmackDown starts. Okay, cool. From 8 to 8:30, it's going to be Shane O'Mac coming out, cutting a promo, saying how everyone's garbage until Roman Reigns comes out. Like, it's a lot less of the authority, like, formulaic process that Raw is, and it's cool because they only interject when necessary, and that's what an authority figure should be. I need to step in to prevent or to enable this, instead of I need to have my hands on everything.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And it's fine to kind of have that kind of role, but that role can't last for that long. If you're going to have an authority figure that keeps butting into everything, that has to be a short-term thing. It can't be like 3 years long.
Right.
Agreed. Like with how it is right now, it's like, oh, Shane O'Mac's going to be on tonight. It's like, oh, Dad's coming home early. You know what I mean? Like, oh, what's the surprise going to be?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And it's almost as a plot device at that point. Like, oh, Shane O'Mac starting Raw. SmackDown. What's going to happen?
Right.
And that builds intrigue instead of like, oh, cool, Stephanie is starting Raw for the 50th week straight.
Well, it's even, Raw's even improved greatly in that.
Agreed.
Since Stephanie took her annual bump and was written off TV, you've got Kurt there just doing his thing, doing what's right by the wrestler, doing what's right by the baby faces, punishing the heels.
Their names.
Yeah.
Finn Balor.
Horribly reading his lines and then getting it's true, it's damn true in at the end.
Yeah. I think Angle is really effective in that first promo he had with Enzo and Big Cass. And he's like, what are you spelling? Like, I think that sort of comedy dynamic was really good for him. But they've kind of pulled back on his, like, comedic timing, I feel, a bit.
Right. He was always good in that. Just give him the tiny hat back.
Yeah. I guess they want, since he is an authority figure, they want him to have at least some kind of actual authority instead of being the bungling idiot, pretty much. Like, but yeah, he's still... there's still an aspect of Kurt Angle that's a little bit out of touch, and they need to embrace that and kind of keep with that. I mean, because basically what it is right now is Kurt Angle's coming in from it. How long has he been away from WWE now? Over 10 years, right?
Yeah, he's 13, I think.
All right, so he's coming back in like 13 years later, assuming everything is still completely the same as it was 13 years ago. So that's kind of what I appreciate. And like, I mean, just what he's done recently, just it's working okay, but I still want to see a little bit more development between it.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on through Backlash. The next note I put on our rundown was, why did the Usos and Breezango put on a 5-star classic?
Fight forever.
That was my favorite match of the entire night.
It was so good. Like Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I brought people over, and like people came over, and I'm just like, you have to watch this match. Sit down.
Yep.
I don't care that you don't watch wrestling. Sit down, watch this match.
Yeah.
I mean, the spot where Tyler Breeze is on the floor and rolling back and forth to avoid, like, what a brilliant spot. Like, I love Tyler Breeze.
I watched that and go, why has no one ever thought of that before? Like,
genius.
That's how you get out of that.
And it just keeps going, because like the Uso keeps going up. Oh, I'll go to the other side. No, he's going. And you're just it's like a Family Guy bit where you're waiting to see when it's going.
When is it going to stop?
But it just, the longer it goes, the kind of funnier it is.
Yeah, I know a lot of people, Brian Alvarez, had issues with this match because they're like, they need to be serious wrestlers. They're not proving anything. This match was terrible. And I'm like,
it's fun.
God damn it. Like, wrestling should be fun. There is space for everything in here. Like, you need the comedy. You need the serious. You need, like, and Tyler Breeze and Fandango, they're all, like, that's what they're good at. That's where they excel. Dango, yeah. That's where they excel, though. Like, and people want to see it. Like, the crowd was hot as hell for that match.
And it worked because the next, Tuesday on SmackDown, when they got their rematch, the crowd popped off.
Oh, yeah.
They were super into it.
Oh, and just the near falls, like people were going nuts. They wanted them to take those titles.
And my thing is, you can have that, and they did a good job of this, in my opinion. You can do the comedy stuff early. You can have Breeze as the janitor and as Mae Young, and but then like when you get into the thick of the match and the work starts to pick up, like they wrestled, and it was solid. It is not a 5-star classic, but like they put on a good match.
And you know what? I have to give credit to commentary. I'm normally extremely critical of JBL. I think the stuff that he's done, it's been very well documented of him being basically a historic bully. But when he had Tyler Breeze's dress land on him, and he goes, "Last time that happened to me, I paid for it," I laughed my ass off. Yeah. Like, it was so fun to see commentary not, trying to bury a wrestler or hype someone up. They were all just laughing and having a good time. It was a fun match. Like, if you go to that live event, you're there with your kids are having a great time. It's funny. Wrestling should be fun.
Yeah. Yeah, and just going back and forth and just watching, with JBL, you mentioned JBL especially, like, how he was still trying to stay in heel mode while still enjoying himself. But, yelling about the fact that there was 4 wrestlers involved in the match because you had the janitor, you had the old woman, and you had Tyler Breeze.
And he's like, Tyler Breeze is here?
He can't get a new partner? Like,
when did he show up? And, he's staying in character just like the whole way. And they sold it beautifully. Like you said, in commentary, they sold it beautifully. And it just, it was done well on all levels. And you just got to be a serious hard ass to not have enjoyed that.
It was just fun. And there was like really good spots too. Like there was a spot where one of the Usos was up on the turnbuckle and they did the super kick between the legs. That was really nice.
Yeah. But and the thing was, when a lot of times when you get the humor in wrestling or whatever, it borders on embarrassing. Right. Because you end up getting like the Rikishi stink face type things and just like things that, are meant to laugh at, and wrestling fans laugh at them. But if you're watching it with somebody else, you're going, "Oh, jeez."
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But that's not what this was. This was just complete slapstick, entertainment, and it was done again extremely well. And to have them carry it over onto SmackDown and to actually have a couple of good matches. Well, the singles matches weren't particularly that good because they went that quickly, but especially after Fandango shot on Jimmy Uso, I guess it was technically, with his water pistol.
Careful, that thing's loaded.
Yes. But it became a legitimate match, and like you said, the heat was there for that whole match. That the crowd was thoroughly behind them, and that's going to get them on the roster for a while now. And keeping them on the card.
It's really funny when they announced this is the last Fashion File. I was like, great, like they had something really funny. And I went online and everyone was bummed and they're like, this is the last Fashion File. And then they had the match. It's like people are invested in these characters. So nurture them, grow them. Like if you have Tyler Breeze and Fandango win the belts, they have to be like, we can't wear these. These things are hideous. They have to redesign the belts. Like, this is a really strong gimmick that can carry over and become something else. And it reminds me of when New Day was kind of just starting to move past like the churchy part of the gimmick and starting to get wacky. Like they're finding their footing, and this can be really, really entertaining for a while. But just let them do it. Like don't, do it for 2 weeks and 2 Fashion Files and done. Like no, have them keep doing Fashion Files. Like you have something cool. Don't stop it just to put the Usos over. Like run with it.
Exactly. And you can even use them like they really should be, if they win the straps, they should be a transitional short-term champion.
For sure.
And then that's how you can get the belts to New Day. You can have a hilarious face feud that way. Like,
could you imagine those promos?
Brilliant. You've got the fashion police out there commenting on whatever the hell the New Day is wearing.
Absolutely.
you've got them
And
telling him, don't be booty back. And,
right.
the New Day is going to feel fresh again. Hallelujah.
Yeah.
So,
And sorry, go ahead.
yeah, it would be great. And I think that's the route they need to take here.
Yeah, and then eventually you can make 2 single stars if you have the belt on them for a bit, have them drop it to New Day, and then have one of them turn on the other. Now you have like 2 solid mid-card wrestlers, both with established gimmicks that were jobbing a few months ago.
Yep. Yeah, and my thing is too, I saw a lot of criticism like, why is Tyler Breeze stuck in this role? You saw how good he was in NXT. Like he should be contending for at least the IC championship or the US champ. Like my thing is he's 29. Like
he's young, yeah.
He's got a long career. Like there's no reason to rush anyone into any position unless they're Nakamura, Finn Balor, Bobby Roode, the guys that are mid to upper 30s, then yeah, you want to get them on the main roster, push them. But these guys that are going to be in the company and traveling with the company for probably the next decade, let's hope, unless they just run out of things for them to do, there's no reason to hotshot them. Like, we want to build their fan base and have everyone know who they are, so when they finally achieve any level of success of getting a belt, like, it's a huge moment.
Yeah.
And the thing is, if you've got somebody like Tyler Breeze that, from a booking perspective, you're looking at and going, you know what? In 5 years, I'd like to put a world title on him, but not yet. Let this develop or let this build. Right now, you're letting him basically do what he wants to do, or at least giving him enough kind of creative control to have a little fun with the gimmick that he is actually doing.
Yeah.
And that's going to go a long way to him enjoying himself while he's with WWE, wanting to re-sign, and then to do that long-term projection that you want to do for him. So you don't turn around and have another Cody Rhodes situation where you've got somebody who wants to do new things and they're just saying, no, you have to do this pretty much for the rest of your life.
Yeah. And I mean, we just saw it on SmackDown. They took Jinder from a Raw jobber to World Heavyweight Champ in 6 weeks. Like, if you let Breeze have fun and you're like, shit, we need a quick transitional champion, this guy paid his dues, he got a gimmick over, he made the best of it, like, he's next in line. Like, things like that happen, so let him have fun while he can have it.
Yep. And for
Zack Ryder has 2 titles under his reign.
Yep. And for everyone who wants to act like Tyler Breeze was the ultimate serious wrestler on NXT, he recorded his own fucking music video. Lest we all forget the gorgeous music video.
Super good looking, every hair in place. One of the greatest theme songs.
Yeah.
That music will come on, and then my kids will just yell out, "Look, everyone, it's Tyler!"
So, I think it was about 2 years ago, there was a house show here in Raleigh, and I didn't know Tyler Breeze was going to be on it. And his music hits, and I yelled that, and I'm pretty sure I'm the only person in the PNC arena who knew who the fuck he was and watched NXT. And the entire time I'm chanting, "Breeze is gorgeous," and this is when he's with Summer Rae.
Oh,
and I'm in the second row. She's like right in front, like cheering with me, and like the security guard is dying laughing at me, losing my mind for this guy. And I'm like, I know he's gonna lose, but I don't give a shit. Like, oh, it was amazing.
He's so good.
I love him. I love him all.
And let's also remember, he's actually gotten to wrestle Jushin Thunder Liger.
It's true.
Yeah, that was wild. That was a really good takeover.
That shows you the confidence they have in him.
Yeah. Plus, he's one of Hunter's kids. Like, they'll protect him.
Yeah.
They'll take care of him.
Well, I guess you could call him one of Hunter's kids because he brought him in. Let's talk about Nakamura's debut. The common belief I have seen is that this was really underwhelming.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of like scorching hot takes about this. A lot of people are mad online.
I'm not mad about it because that's the way it was booked.
Right.
You're never going to make him shine when Ziggler's getting 80% of the offense in.
Yeah.
And then he just, pulls a Reigns and Kinshasa 1, 2, 3. But yeah, this was really like, just didn't feel like the right way to start.
Yeah.
You know?
I have a lot of... Go ahead.
No, you got it.
I just have so many mixed emotions about this because I see both sides of the debate. Like, a lot of people wanted him to just come out, destroy Ziggler, like, in 2 or 3 minutes, and that's it. And then I also see people saying, like, well, if you just destroy Ziggler, like, you kind of set a precedent because Ziggler's, like, your 3rd or 4th top heel on SmackDown. So, like, you should kind of slowly build because WWE has a really bad history of just rushing into big matches. And I don't know. I think one of Nakamura's biggest strengths is, like, his selling and, like, his emotes while selling. So if you take that away from him, he becomes less dynamic. But at the same time, like, in theory, he should have destroyed Ziggler.
Yeah, there was no reason for that match to be 80-20. It could have been 50-50, and I think people would feel way different about it than they do.
Yeah, and part of me is a little bit concerned just in the style that he wrestles and how many other wrestlers in the company are going to be able to work a match similar to that. Because
yeah, that's true.
Nakamura, I mean, that strong style is not just a t-shirt. It's just that stiff ground-based striking style that most American wrestlers aren't necessarily trained for. They either you're either doing flips or you're doing, basic groundwork, and groundwork is boring for the average American viewer. So you're going to want to do something, and they're going to be somewhat, my concern is that they're going to be somewhat limited as to who they can match Nakamura up with. You can only put him against AJ so many times.
Right.
So, I mean, you can put him against Owens. You can put him against AJ. There are a decent amount of wrestlers who you can put him against, but at the same time, going into that match, I was thinking, oh, it's going to be great against Ziggler because Ziggler's going to be able to sell all over the place for him. But in hindsight, looking at it, it's like, well, maybe they're not the best match. And they're going to be forced to actually kind of look at this roster and go, okay, who can he work with? Who should we protect him from?
I think he's got. I think he's got a lot of potential. Of course, whenever an AJ feud hits, which if they're stupid if they don't save that for Mania.
Yeah, that has to be Mania next. Like, that has to be the Mania event next year.
I think him and Owens would be a great pair. I think that would be a fun matchup.
They've worked before, haven't they?
They did Ring of Honor, I think. Yeah.
So that, I mean, I can't foresee that being a poor match. I think him and Baron Corbin would be really interesting.
I could see that working out very well
because
too.
Corbin, you think about the frenetic pace that Shinsuke wants to work at in staying moving and wanting to get the knee strike in, and then Corbin's just going to try to keep him down. What is it? He always yells, "Stay down." Like, to me, that's intriguing. I mean, there's potential there, and that's 3 feuds, and he's a big enough star. 3 feuds would book him for a year.
Yeah,
and then we're back around to the other end of Mania, and we have another shakeup or draft. And then,
I just wonder how
Raw.
Yeah, I just wonder how fast they put a belt on him. Because as weird as it sounds, like, his entrance is great, but his entrance is starting to become like a WWE main roster trope where now everyone does like 10 no matter what the second someone comes out of the ring. Now in NXT after every 2 it's sweet. Like, I feel that people are just singing his entrance because that's like the fun hot thing for a wrestling crowd to do. But when he's not doing his entrance, like when they had the Money in the Bank promo and they're all just kind of standing there and it's 5 people and he's kind of just like making his facials and his mannerisms, he loses that like cool charisma charm that he has. So they have to be very careful with the way they put him into matches because I'm sure they're going to want to put a belt on him ASAP. Like the way commentary puts him over, they clearly have massive plans for him. But I think you got to be really, really careful with not like oversaturating SmackDown with him. Like, I think he should still be doing squash matches. to show how dominant he can be. Mm-hmm. And they really have to pick their spots with who he feuds with.
Yep. For sure. In my opinion, everyone that's going into this Money in the Bank match should be doing nothing but squash matches for the next month.
Yeah, for sure.
You make them all look until that last week, and then you put them in a 6-man tag.
Oh, God. Because what's going to suck about him in a Money in the Bank match is, like, it's a typical, like, we all start, we all lock up, someone gets knocked out, someone's resting outside for 2 minutes. Okay, someone else is knocked out. Now it's 1-on-1 for 5 minutes. Like, he's going to look very awkward just kind of laying on the floor. Like, his whole mystique is this, like, foreign brawler that can beat the shit out of you. Like, he's king of strong style. So he loses that charm. Like, imagine if Brock Lesnar's in Money in the Bank and he gets thrown over the top rope and just lays there. You're like, you're the beast. You should run back in there and beat the shit out of everyone.
My only hope for him in that match is they could get ready to do the spot where it's going to be him versus AJ, and they have the stare down, the crowd pops, it gets hot, and then somebody just takes one of them out, and they have no conflict against each other.
Yeah,
just tease it and move on.
I'm just picturing a Money in the Bank match now with Brock Lesnar where he gets thrown out of the ring, just gets pissed off, goes back into the ring, grabs the ladder, and just punches the shit out of the ladder until it breaks, then leaves for a no contest.
Yeah, I mean, he very well should be SmackDown's Brock. And having him do these, like, 80-20 matches where he gets beat up a lot and then has his big comeback, like, that's kind of how they book underdogs, and he really shouldn't be an underdog. He should show up and dominate.
Yeah, that's not printed on his t-shirt. That's on Sammy's t-shirt.
Yeah, exactly.
Can't steal his gimmick.
Yeah, but I have good feelings about Sammy, but we'll get there soon.
Yeah. But, yeah, I guess we can move on. Otherwise, we could talk about that. But it's his first match. There will be more.
Yeah, I was okay with it.
There'll be notes.
There is no panic.
Yeah.
AJ Styles versus Kevin Owens with my favorite finish of the night. Because I've never seen that before, and I greatly enjoyed it. Because for a split second I went, oh shit, he got counted out because his foot got... I got worked.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, it was a great match. It's the same match we've seen from the two of them.
Yeah, I just like how they save that. Like, they save the real match for later down the line. Like, they put that in their back pocket, and they know that it'll be a great match, it'll be dynamic, it'll get the crowd hot. Mm-hmm. But they kind of tease it at the very end, and like, you're not going to get this just yet. This is going to be like a Big Four pay-per-view match.
Yeah. They'll both lose at Money in the Bank, and it'll happen at SummerSlam.
Yeah, I mean, and that's something that they used to do in pay-per-views, where it's like, oh, you have this great matchup. It's one of the things that sells, like the kind of mid-card pay-per-view or a Clash of the Champions or something like that. And then you have the ending that you don't necessarily want. And it's not a dusty finish, but it's, it's the ending that is unsatisfying. And it's not really a bait and switch, but it's like, well... damn, I wanted something better than that. Well, you know what? At SummerSlam, it's going to be in a steel cage, so you don't have to worry about the outside interference. Or it's going to be, a no disqualification match, so you don't have to worry. And I mean, that's the way kind of like how it would be. I keep bouncing back to this in various podcasts, but the way Flair title matches would you'd get it on a Clash of the Champions, on free TV, or even on a Saturday night show where you'd get the matchup and you're like, oh crap, I'm actually going to get, it's going to be Sting versus Ric Flair, but, at the last minute, the Horsemen run in, or, Flair grabs Tommy Young and throws him into the fourth row. So that's not the finish of the match that we wanted, but you know what? It's going to set up Starrcade.
Yeah, and it works for a few different reasons, because if you would have had KO win, people are like, oh my god, AJ Styles is buried. He lost the USA title match. And then if AJ wins, it's like, oh, Kevin Owens is the face of America. He just lost his belt. You save that for later. Yeah, exactly. And I feel like for the past couple of years, WWE kind of really rushes into feuds and kind of burns them out fast. And we should really be saving these individual matchups that can be headliners. Don't waste Finn Balor versus Roman Reigns on Raw and then have Finn Balor lose even though Roman Reigns is taped up. Like, that could have been a SummerSlam main event. You know what I mean? Like, save your two biggest stars for your biggest matchups of the year.
Kris, why do you keep poking the bull here?
I was so mad about that.
You?
Did you throw a pint glass across your apartment and rage quit in the middle of Raw? Because I did. Because fuck Roman Reigns, and I'm gonna let him know when I see him on Saturday.
I had to take over the Cheaters Never Pin Twitter feed because
that was the angriest text I've ever said to you.
Yeah.
I have to stop watching Raw. Somebody else take over the Twitter. Good night.
Yeah. There was also a really good spot in that match I just wanted to highlight because of how great of a performer AJ is. They were basically working AJ's right leg, I think, the entire night. And then he goes up to the apron and he goes to hit a phenomenal forearm. And then he intentionally botches and sells his injured leg and falls because he doesn't have the lower body strength to do the flip.
Yep.
He is so aware of the psychology of the match where it's okay, if he's been destroying this leg for the past 10 minutes, I can't hit this move. And just little things like that where it's did he mess that up? Was that on purpose? That's that just shows what a good performer he is, that consistently throughout the match, he knows what's happening to his physique and he changes, his posture, the way he runs. And that's what makes him look like such a dynamic performer.
Yeah. Then you got the duality of that where they could book Roman to literally have his arm cut off in a match and then he'd reattach it and hit the Superman punch.
Baby girl.
Yeah. My last note on Backlash was rest of the show. Meh.
Yeah, it was all right. I did like that Sammy finally got a win, and following up on SmackDown, he won again, and he won.
It was so great.
What I feel is if you're booking an underdog, they should get destroyed in the match, and they should win via sheer perseverance. Mm-hmm. And then afterwards, the heel takes liberties and attacks them. An underdog isn't someone that loses every single match. They overcome the odds and they're so close to the finish line, but they're not quite there yet. And I think they did the right thing by having him win 2 matches and then get destroyed.
Yeah.
The
booking on Tuesday was brilliant, and the fact that he just he just outsmarted Corbin real fast and then just got his teeth knocked out for 5 minutes.
And he's so great at selling that.
Yep.
And that's how he should be as an underdog. Oh man, Sammy always wins his matches and then he gets screwed over by the bad guy, the big bad guy that's 6 inches and 40 pounds on him. Mm-hmm. That's how it should be instead of him losing every single match on Raw. Because now you have sympathy for him. Now kids are oh man, Baron Corbin's so dastardly. Sami Zayn is finally winning and he's still such a mean guy. That's how kids view it.
So I'm writing all this down and sending it to Bailey's booking committee.
Exactly. Jesus.
Yeah. But she's a fangirl, Tom. She's just so excited to be there.
Also, one more thing on Backlash. One of my favorite parts was Booker T just yelling, "You're looking real jacked, baby," over and over again to Eric Rowan.
Oh,
what? What is he doing?
That, and also on the pre-show when he makes the gesture towards Ellsworth to insinuate that he was been fucking Carmella.
He literally did the middle school bald fist, open hands, hitting it over and over again.
And just the look of complete shock and horror on Renee Young's face.
He is wild. Shucky ducky quack quack.
Oh,
what a savage. You're looking real jacked, baby.
The most important takeaway from Backlash, though. India number 1.
India number 1.
Which if you
haven't,
if you haven't found video or seen the video online of the Hindi commentary when gender wins, find it and watch it. It is glorious.
What's really interesting too, that I was having a discussion with my good friend Whitney and Jimmy, just want to shout them out. On SmackDown right now, every single title holder is a person of color. And I can't remember the last time that happened. Because Raw was close when you had New Day, Sasha, and Swan. But SmackDown legitimately has, a Canadian Indian. You have Usos. And you have Naomi. It's really cool to see that level of diversity and representation without doing these like overly gross minority stereotypes. Like they're just champions, and it's really cool like to finally see representation in WWE over the past 2 years.
I said I'd never even thought about that because they haven't even made it about that.
Right,
There's
which
like
is
the
how
champions,
it should be.
And so, yeah, you mentioning it the first time I went, oh yeah, that's right. That's really cool.
Yeah.
And I listened to it and I went, Kevin Owens is an Indian? It threw me at first, but yeah, I realized you're talking about gender. But
he's French-Canadian. He's almost a person.
Because before this, the last person to hold the main title would be Khalil.
that's what I was looking. And technically, that's the World Heavyweight Championship, not the WWE Championship.
true.
Because I actually looked that up today, and I was just like, did he actually hold the title? I couldn't remember because I knew he like never did a job pretty much.
Right.
But
Great Khali had it for a minute, I feel.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, he had it.
He did.
He had it once.
The last time
But-
they wanted to expand to India.
Yeah. But yeah, I was pretty happy with overall like the direction of Backlash and SmackDown.
It was a fun show. I enjoyed it. You know what else I enjoy?
What?
Buying things online really cheap.
Seamless.
Boom.
That's what we do here.
Sagui so smooth.
Yeah.
You know where I like to buy my cheap shit, Tom?
I think I do, but tell me anyway.
I like to go to Amazon.com. You know how I get to Amazon.com?
It's not going to Amazon.com.
Nope.
There's a different way.
I have put a plight on typing in Amazon.com. You gotta go to cheatersneverpin.com. You gotta click that Amazon button on the front page whenever you do any shopping on Amazon.com. And when you do, it kicks a few cents back to the Section 328 Media Empire. And here's the most important point I want to make today. When you go to Amazon.com, you got whatever you want in your cart. There's one more thing I need you to add to that cart. I need you to search Section 328 because we got shirts on Amazon now. And there's
We
one
got merch.
We got merch. Buy the merch. There's one shirt in particular I need you to buy, and it's the one that says "Pucking Sunshine" because my article has a T-shirt now, and I could not be more thrilled. And Tom has no comment because he doesn't have any merch yet.
I don't. It's sad to me, but I'm glad you have merch.
Thanks.
So I was just thinking that Chris may want a big T-shirt that has like a sunshine
Yeah,
logo on it.
go
Sounds
walk
good to
down
me.
there.
Go walk around Florida and spread some positivity wherever you go. With the Pucking Sunshine T-shirt that you bought by going to cheatersneverpin.com, clicking on the Amazon button and doing your shopping like normal.
Sunshine.
Shut up! I plowed right through it. My speaking is as great as my typing today.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm surprised it took this long.
Yeah. Anyway, cheatersneverpin.com. Click the Amazon button. Give us some money. Yeah, I have a T-shirt. I'm real proud.
Very nice.
I'm real happy.
I'm proud of your T-shirt.
I know for a fact we've sold one so far, and it was to me.
Yeah.
So,
But the thing is that those T-shirts, I mean, not to completely plug our stuff.
do I need to
but
put the
from
music
what I've
back
been-
on so people know it's an ad? Hold on.
No.
All right. keep going.
Banana. Banana. Banana.
I've been told those shirts are quality though. Those are the soft kind, not the, overly rigid.
Expect a full photo gallery of me in really sexy poses, modeling my T-shirt.
That should be a patron reward.
That should be.
You get the calendar of me just in the same T-shirt on every month. Be great. All right, so
Patreon
Backlash.
Wharton.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I'm
Go
s-
talk
sorry.
about Backlash. It's fine.
I
It's-
was gonna say we already talked. No, go ahead, Tom. I don't want to hurt your feelings.
No, we're past it now. It's fine.
I'm sorry, buddy.
I'm gonna go have a Uncrustable now.
What kind? Just peanut butter and jelly?
Yeah.
Is
no,
that
that's
the LA
kind of
kind?
half- No, there are 4 different kinds
Ooh,
actually.
go ahead.
because
Tell
you
me.
have the grape jelly kind, which is the traditional kind, which is my personal favorite. You have strawberry jelly, if you're into that kind of thing. There is a whole wheat and honey one,
Boo.
which my son enjoys, so screw you.
Oh.
And then
Just
there
heard
is
whole wheat. It sounded mildly healthy.
and then there is one that's got a, I will say, hazelnut spread and not say Nutella.
Okay.
So yeah, 4 different kinds, but the traditional kind is the best one to go.
Nice. Glad we got our Uncrustable break in for the day.
Yeah.
Yep. All right.
It wouldn't be a Potter without a Uncrustable reference. Yes, I interrupted you again. How's it feel?
My pride hurts.
There, we're even now. I don't have a shirt.
Poor Kris is just sitting there like, please stop arguing. I just want to talk about wrestling.
Why are my parents fighting?
All right, so let's move on. Let's talk about NXT Takeover Chicago.
Okay.
I guess the only appropriate place to start here is a non-NXT match. It was the UK Championship match between Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne.
There were other matches on that card?
There were 4 other right? Yes, 4 other matches on that card.
Technically, I think there are other matches too that were taped for tonight.
Oh,
maybe?
yeah.
Yeah.
Black had a match.
Black, Big
And I think
Scottish. Thank you. I was like Big Scottish. Couldn't think of his name. Just gonna call him Big Scott.
That's what the tights say now.
I just came up with a gimmick for him. You're welcome. So yeah, Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne put on the WWE match of the year so far.
Yeah.
That doesn't involve the Breezango.
Oh, right. But you can't count that because it wasn't serious, Tom.
Ugh.
Let me angrily type on my keyboard about it.
Oh, I got to talk about angry typing on the keyboard about this match, but that'll be later on.
I just angrily sent a text. Accidentally.
But yeah, that match was pretty much perfect. I can't think of a more TV ready heel than Pete Dunne.
I love Pete Dunne.
He is so good. When I first saw him in Progress, I guess it would have been about a year ago, I started watching Progress, and he came on the screen, I was like, who the fuck is this guy?
Most punchable face I've ever seen.
That was, just instant heat with me. And
you know what he reminds me of? You're casual friends in elementary school that your parents are friends, so you have to go to his house and hang out. And he's like, we're going to play N64, but you're getting the bad remote. He reminds me of that type of kid. The shittiest kid. If you beat him in a game, he's like, no, that one didn't count. He hits reset. Just the most smug, insufferable prick. Every time I see him, I want to punch him in the face.
Yep.
That is
then
the
Tyler
most
Bate.
accurate description I've heard.
And then there's Tyler Bate, who you just want to wave back at.
Yeah, who's literally dropping spiral taps in the middle of this match. What a ridiculous match.
Yeah, it was...
Oh.
If you haven't seen it, obviously go watch it, because it's incredible. I know I speak very highly of these gentlemen a lot, given my affinity for Progress, but holy shit. I don't know that these two have even had a match that good. Well, they're a faction in Progress, so that doesn't count. But, oh, so good. Just made my heart so warm. Especially, knowing, and I think they even kind of alluded to this Friday on the UK Championship special, but, a year ago, these guys were known in the UK, but that's it. And now they've, on the biggest global platform for their art, for their sport, they've given us the best match of the year.
I wonder how much their booking rate's gone up.
Oh, I'm sure it's insane. On top of whatever they're probably consistently getting from the dub.
Yeah. I just think when we talk about the future of wrestling, and I know this sounds hyperbolic, but these kids are 20 and 23. They can wrestle the next 15 years pretty comfortably. That's wild.
Well, you look at that.
I will have a child, and my child will be watching these people main event.
We get, that whole UK scene. You've got those two and Trent Seven.
Yeah.
You've got Ospreay.
You got Marty, who's tearing it up.
Oh, Jesus, Marty.
Whoop, whoop.
Whoop, whoop. There's just so many of them right now. And a lot of them are still, this is good. I hate phrasing it this way, but a lot of them are unknown to the vast majority of wrestling fans that aren't those of us that are hardcore enough to be recording a podcast about it.
Right.
Brother.
Much love, HH.
It's crazy to see how fast WWE basically just took over UK wrestling. Like, I don't know when they're going to start that show, but I think it's very cool that they have, I don't know the depth of it, but the relationship they have with Progress. I think it's incredibly cool that, Pete Dunne can be Progress champ and WWE champ and show off both of those belts. Like, it gives it like this sort of Wild Wild West feel, and it's really cool. Like, that's something we would have never seen 3 to 4 years ago.
Yeah, and what I've commonly heard, the strategy here is that basically, like, it would be a developmental territory in a way that NXT is not. That,
right.
You'd be in the UK before you'd step up to NXT, before you'd step up to the main roster. And, if they're going to do periodic tapings, and to me, the UK doesn't even need to be a weekly show.
Yeah, they can just do monthly specials.
Yeah, just go over there, record an hour or two of TV, and even, have the belt defended on Progress or OTT or ICW, pay them a little bit, get the rights to the footage, compile it into a show.
Yeah.
And that way those guys are still free to work and free to learn, especially like you already talked about their age of 20 and 23 and how so many of them are so young. And let them continue to work and learn against as many people as they can before they truly fall into the WWE system and are going to be with the same people all the time. Because, back in the territory days when people were traveling and going from spot to spot to spot, they were learning how to work so many different types of people and so many different styles that's what made the business great. And this is very similar to that.
I just can't believe Pete Dunne is 23. Like, if he showed up next week on Raw or SmackDown, I'm like, yeah, you can be on the main event. Like, he gets his character so well. Mm-hmm. Like, there was a really nice, the closing scene of the latest UK special where Regal comes out and, Tyler has his belt. Pete Dunne isn't even looking at Tyler. He's just staring at the belt, and Tyler's an afterthought. Like, he just knows consistently how to act, how to look, how to snarl his face to just show disgust and disrespect at all times. When
do we learn Triple H is the ultimate heel in the UK?
Oh boy.
Since we teased that during the tournament.
Yeah.
Oh, I can never get enough Triple H.
There's a thing that Lance Storm brought up going back to the match, mind you, that, like, for all the great work that was done in the match, the ending of the match had to do with a missed ... dive.
Mm-hmm.
And was that coincidental or not? So I was like, oh, it's interesting for you to bring that up, Lance.
Probably
that
coincidental.
Is pretty interesting.
Yeah, I thought it was too.
Just good booking in the fact that, like, Bates real fucking good, and he messed up once and he lost the belt.
Yeah.
But he's good enough, he could get it back at any second.
And speaking of internet takes, like, so Meltzer, after this match ends, basically is like, shut down the show, you can't top this. Mm-hmm. And everyone's like, 5-star, 5-star, 5-star. And he's like, I don't know yet. I haven't really sat down and thought about it. And I don't know how either of you feel about Meltzer, but I kind of use him as a barometer of, like, stuff I should go out of the way to watch. But I just found, like, people so obsessed, like, this has to be a 5-star match. Like, if it's a 4.75, it's a disservice to them. And I just thought it was, like, a crazy good match. Like, I don't see why people are so obsessed in the minutia of a quarter of a star.
Like you said, Meltzer is a great barometer. He has watched enough wrestling to where if he says, you should watch this, you should probably watch this.
Basically, if a match is...
The people
the
people that live and die on his star ratings and believe them as gospel, though, like, and he'll even, as much shit as I give him for his really terrible news reporting, and then be like, our plans changed.
Well, I was just, the thing is, he's basically a barometer. Like, if he's like, this match is 3.5 stars, I'm like, cool, add to playlist.
That means he liked it. I'll probably like it.
Yep.
But you know what? There's matches he's rated low that I've thought were way better, and there's matches he's rated higher than I would have rated. But that's fine. Everybody likes different stuff. And honestly, he says that. So I will give him credit for that. But
man, his timeline was like, he was getting like hundreds of messages that night.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous.
And I mean, he puts out there, it's like, you shouldn't have to see the amount of shit that he goes through, but he makes sure to like kind of quote tweet it.
Yeah.
So you get to see like half of it is him responding back, and half of it is pretty much like, do you see the shit I have to go through?
He's like your sassy grandpa. You're like, oh, Pop, you're the best.
All right, another takeover news. Fuck Tommaso Ciampa.
What? Oh, that was great drama, man.
God damn it! I knew it was coming because I'd had it spoiled.
Everyone knew it was coming. I mean, even if you didn't know about his theme music, you knew it was coming because it's been teased for so freaking long.
And props to the television team for like, here's the credit, here's the logo at the end, you're safe, and you exhale, and then boom.
Well, the last time they did that, when Owens turned on Sammy.
Really?
Yep.
I had to go back and rewatch it.
Takeover Our Evolution, they did the same thing. Because I remember being like, oh, cool, the show's over. And then Owens just throws him into the apron, and I was screaming.
Apron powerbomb. So good.
I also love that people pointed out the fact that the theme song was Judas.
Yeah, that was cool.
And that Sammy and Owens were ringside.
One of my favorite parts about this was just them keeping up the story on Twitter afterwards. Like, Candice LeRae is tweeting, like, an update about Johnny, how they're devastated. And then Tommaso, like, tweets out tonight, like, a picture of an empty apartment, like, moving out. Like, thank you. It's little things like that. Like, I don't really care about, like, people taking photos together. Like, I'm not, like, a stickler for, like, kayfabe being broken on social media. But when you do little things like this, it really makes the story great.
Yeah. And Candice is smart enough as a wrestler herself to be like, yeah, I'm going to participate in this kayfabe real fast.
Yeah, so good.
I mean, and just have fun with it. I mean, it's something that you can do. It's just advances the storyline a little bit. And again, it's, you know, mostly the smart fans that are looking at that and kind of like shrugging off or whatever. But like, you've got a decent amount of fans that are just that, for lack of a better term, aren't so much smart fans that are just eating that shit up. So yeah, have fun with it.
Yeah, and the eventual match they're going to have, like the CWC rematch is going to be fantastic.
Yeah, they've been building this for a year. It's possible in WWE to build a feud for a year.
Yeah, my only concern about it is that you have the tag division really thin right now. Like, TM61's coming back, Heavy Machinery is pretty fun, and then you have Authors of Pain, and then you got Moss and Sabatelli?
Yeah.
Is that their names?
Yep. The guy who stirs stuff has a tag partner now. I can't remember his name.
Oh, Dawkins and what's his name?
Yeah.
I just saw them at an NXT live event, and they tore it up.
Yeah.
They are so TV ready with that gimmick.
Well,
but I don't know why they haven't put them on yet. I don't know.
Well, you could always throw a Sanity team together, couldn't you?
It's true.
Yeah.
You could put Alexander Wolf and Big Damo together.
Yeah. I feel like NXT has a lot of shifting plates right now, and it's like really crowded. I don't know what they're gonna do. I don't know if call-ups are coming up, but that's a full show. They got to add like 15 minutes to it.
Yeah, but if you're gonna call people up, what are they gonna do on the main roster?
Yeah.
Me and JC were saying before, it's like we haven't really had cuts recently, and
Yeah.
It's got to be coming, right?
Yeah. I came up with an analogy with my friends Whitney and Jimmy a while back, and I want to present it to you. So imagine you're a teenager, right? It's summer, you're super excited. You go downstairs and you see that they've built a fantastic swimming pool in your neighborhood. It has all the rides, all the slides, the nicest poolside furniture, water guns, great food. You're like, this is the greatest pool I've ever seen. It's fantastic. But then you step inside the pool and it's only up to your knees. Like, that's the WWE. Like, it's all the bells and whistles. Like, all your friends are there. They have all the greatest wrestlers, but it's so shallow. Like, it's, I don't know. And then, like, to keep up with this comparison, like, there's another really, really great pool, but you got to go all the way around town. The hours are kind of weird. You know, the swimming, the swimming rules are in Japanese, but the pool is super, super deep. And then you have another pool that, like, your mom can take you to, and there's an owl there for some reason, and it's really, like, disheveled, and it's like there's, like, way too much chlorine in the pool. So it's like WWE has all these things. Like, they have, like, literally you have Drew McIntyre. You have Aleister Black, who's tearing up his gimmick. You have Atami. You have Bobby Roode. You have, I mean, technically Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne. You have Roderick Strong. You have Cassius Ohno. You have Almas. Like, these are all main event people. It's just way too crowded.
Yeah.
Like, what? And now you have, like, Ciampa and Gargano feud.
God, Jesus, this is gonna be a fun summer, isn't it?
Yeah, like, once they find everything out, and that's not even including, like, sanity. You know what I mean? Like, once everything gets put in place, I think we're gonna be like in an NXT golden age, like back when we had, like, Finn and Sammy and KO and Tyler and Atami. But right now, it's like it's fucking crowded.
And it was gonna take them a while to rebuild that, because they got, when the draft kind of came out of nowhere, and Triple H has said this in the media calls, and kind of drained them real hard. They had to rebuild.
And Adam Cole is possibly coming up. Like, he's coming.
God.
But, like, I just don't want him to get lost in this. I'm so glad they didn't show him at Takeover Chicago.
Me too.
They are not ready to add another person. Like,
no. But anyway, fuck Tommaso Ciampa.
Yeah, great match. I like Authors of Pain. I kind of like dominant big heels. They're still green and they botch here and there, but I think Ellering's done a great job with them.
Yeah.
I think it's a killer gimmick. Like, that's such a cool, like, if I was a little kid, I'd shit my pants if I saw those dudes.
Oh yeah, they're scary as
I
fuck.
mean, it's funny that they put Ellering with them, because it is very reminiscent of early roadies, the way that they just come out there and exactly, you know, kids look at them and just like, oh my God, you know, they're just that, you know, they're just these two intimidating guys that just are just devastating at this point.
And, like, keep them together forever. Like, there should be tag team specialists that they just tag team. Like, Revival should always be Revival. Authors of Pain should always be Authors of Pain. Like, I'm glad they broke up DIY because they're both strong singles wrestlers. But, like, man, Authors of Pain, never separate them. Like, they have it dialed in. They're good. They're, like, 19 and 21 as well.
Yeah.
They're crazy young.
And the good part with Gargano and Ciampa, like, you can break them up, have this feud, and then nothing says you can't put them back together at some point.
Yeah, or you can put one on Raw and one on SmackDown, and then build that up, you know, eventually.
Then Candace has to go to both.
Oh, God. I'm so excited for that women's tournament.
Oh, we'll get to that.
Yep. Sorry, I jumped ahead.
That's okay. We do that a lot around here.
Yeah. I get yelled at for it.
He does. I won't yell at our guests, but I'll yell at Tom.
Yeah.
So I just wrote Hideo Itami, thoughts on his first major match back. So we know how, exactly. It was fine. We saw the closest to Kenta we'll ever get again.
Yeah.
Him slapping the taste out of Bobby Roode's mouth. But yeah, I honestly don't know if there's a place for him now. I feel really terrible about saying that, but I just don't know that he's ever going to translate, since
here's my
his
issue with
been
him.
so rocky.
they want to get the return of investment on him. You know what I mean? Like, they've already had like 2 separate false starts.
Mm-hmm.
The heel turn was definitely needed just because for someone who is so entertaining and engaging in the ring, he has no charisma outside of the ring. Like, his entrance, like his theme hits, he walks out, he looks at the ring, he walks into a straight line, he doesn't play to the crowd. Like, he needs something different. And a heel turn's possibly the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
But again, with NXT being so crowded, like, if you're not going to put the title on him, like, what I guess he has this Ono program coming up. But after that, like, I would like to see, like, I've like fantasy booked this in my head. Like, if you want to like rip off New Japan, put him and Almas together as like basically LIJ.
I was gonna say, I bet you see that in the Dusty this year.
Oh, that'd be a sweet tag team.
I was just thinking that when you were talking about Almas, I was like, oh, that'd be a good Dusty tag team.
Yeah, but throw a third person with them, and that kind of frees up your main event, and just have them be like the disrespectful shit heels.
Oh my God, Asuka.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yes. I might actually care about Asuka finally.
That's another. We'll get to her, but
will we?
But yeah, Tommy is just like, I'm glad there's something for him now, but they're coming really close to the point of like, he's been on TV for like 3 years. There's not really much else for him to learn in NXT, but his character is so shallow. So I don't know what they're gonna do.
Yeah, he's just basically, I mean, from an outside perspective, he's the Japanese guy who isn't Nakamura.
Yeah.
Right.
And at least Nakamura at least has the size too. Tommy's, a smaller guy that, I mean, the only thing that you can kind of take from him outside of NXT, if you were to move him anywhere, he's going to end up on 205.
But if you do like an invasion and you put him, Almas, and then someone like Enzo and Kalisto on 205, 205 becomes way more must-watch in my opinion.
Oh yeah,
true.
But I mean, I think what happened with 205 was you ended up signing a lot of the indie guys and that type of thing to try to have at least a roster of itself.
Mm-hmm.
And then it seemed like almost like, well, we had to sign all these guys to kind of get them for the tournament and all that type of thing. Well, now we have to kind of justify signing them. So we're going to put them out here and see if any of them kind of get over. And
where's Gran Metalik? Where's my buddy at?
He was on there last week.
That's like criminally underused.
Yep. I was so excited, not this past Tuesday, but the Tuesday before when he showed up on 205 Live and escaped the prison of main event. But, yeah, I don't know where he is.
That's another show that has an issue where it's Asuka all over again. They have an undefeated, just disgustingly strong champion, and everyone else has been 50-50 booked, so no one looks like a valid threat.
Right.
Which is why I put a Tommy there and just have him do something instead of just do like a 6-week program in NXT. He faces Ono. He loses. Ono looks better. Like, because you kind of Ono loses like another feud. Like,
right.
So I don't know. They got to do something.
Mm-hmm. So the rest of the Takeover, Roddy and EY, that was fun.
It was cool.
It was good. And then the women's triple threat, it was a match.
I like the double pin finish. That was cool.
We can't. She just looks. They've just had her murder everybody, and I'm real over it.
The thing is, she's been murdering people for a year now. Like the second, when it was the rematch she had with Bayley, I like distinctively like remember talking to my friends and like, if she beats Bayley here, like, who in kayfabe is strong enough to take her?
Right.
Like, they built her up so fast, and then they called up the rest of the women, and they're like, okay, so there's scraps now. Like, back then it was just, I think,
you had Liv Morgan.
Liv Morgan and someone else was there. It's like no one was prepared for her.
Right.
Eventually, it has to be either the winner of the women's tournament is going to get a number one contender for winning, or I think Ember Moon is ready. I love Ember Moon.
Yeah.
But I don't know. They got to do something there. But I love how the NXT Women's Championship is, in my opinion, like the most prestigious title in the entire company. It's so protected. each reign has been like 180 plus days, and there's only been like 5 reigns.
Right.
But yeah, she has to lose. Like come on, please.
I'll be so happy. I can't stand her. I'm so I've never understood it, but that's okay. I'm fine
It's
with
just
that.
gonna suck though. Like when she gets called up to the main roster, I hope they don't repeat the undefeated streak with her, just because you can't build someone up so fast. It's like Roman Reigns syndrome. It's like, cool, you watch the match, it's gonna be a good match, they're gonna win. Like I'm not entertained necessarily.
You ever start cocking her fist and saying "baby girl" and it gets real weird.
You look a real Jack, baby.
Other WWE news. I'm pretty sure the only 3 things that we know: Money in the Bank, Kevin Owens, Baron Corbin, Dolph Ziggler, AJ Styles, Sami Zayn, and Shinsuke Nakamura.
Who do you guys want to have it?
Sammy's winning that match, right?
I think Sammy or Baron. Shinsuke would look way too weird having it. AJ doesn't need it. Ziggler is like, okay, cool. Again, boring. And Kevin Owens should just keep milking the face of America.
Well, AJ and Owens are going to SummerSlam to face each other. So
for sure.
In BD.
Sorry.
No, I was going to say, I can't see Sammy taking that, having Money in the Bank. It's just like kind of carrying it around. It seems like he'd be too polite to actually go in and like request the title match in an inconvenient time.
I think it'd be really funny if like every day, like every SmackDown, he's like talking to like Shane or Daniel, and he's like, I was thinking tonight, but this guy has an 80% win rate on Tuesdays, and I'm not so sure about it. But then next week I have a match here. Like it'd be great if like every week he's just like psyching himself up and up and up, and then like I would do it like near Mania time, and when he has to cash in, like it'd be cool if like Foley is like, just do it, man. Like just do your own thing, or like one of his heroes to motivate him. And he says like, fuck it, and becomes a badass and does it.
Yeah.
But I can see them doing like neurotic Sami Zayn overanalyzing his cash in.
True. And Money in the Bank is intrinsically a heel gimmick.
Yeah. Like Baron would be cool for it.
Oh, he'd be such a dick with that briefcase.
Yeah, and it gives him more. Makes him more rounded in his gimmick. Like I feel Money in the Bank is like a very safe thing to put on someone that's kind of mid card, but you want to put higher up, but you don't have a feud for them. Like that just becomes their story for the next however many months.
Yeah,
I got Money in the Bank.
It gives you your safety valve too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's a good elevator. I mean, it takes that mid card guy and it kind of brings him up a notch. I mean, it worked for like Kennedy. It worked for like.
Ziggler.
Yeah, the Ziggler cash-in was fantastic when it happens. But I also do like the fact that Kevin Owens is in it. And I know people might be like, oh, he's the USA champion, he can't be in it. But on the other side, we just had on Raw people losing intercontinental title shots and then being put in a fatal 5-way. So I do like the concept of SmackDown where, like, yeah, you won. Even if you already have a title, win more. Like, we should showcase our best talent.
Yep. Speaking of
that's the thing. I was going to say, as the U.S. champion, don't you want the world championship?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Why should he not be on it?
He wants to be face of the world.
And on the flip side of that too, like if you're taking Money in the Bank, I mean, not that it would ever happen, but theoretically, you're protecting yourself from having your title taken away potentially by someone using the Money in the Bank against you.
That's really true. That's a good call.
Mm-hmm.
Not that anyone would ever challenge for the U.S. title instead of the WWE championship,
right.
But just saying, as a champion, so, I mean, potentially Jinder Mahal should be in there because, you know what? Screw that. I want to protect my championship. I don't want anyone to have this. I'm going to sit on this Money in the Bank because, hell, if I end up losing the title...
That would be a really good program. That would be really cool.
Be fun.
You can do it once and that's it.
Yeah.
But imagine the champ holding Money in the Bank finally gets pins. And he, like, let's say you win Money in the Bank and you become champ at SummerSlam, you've already been champ. You can hide that Money in the Bank briefcase. And if you lose at Mania, like, you roll out of the ring, go underneath the curtain, pull it out, the crowd freaks the fuck out, and you win your championship right back. Like, that would be really fun.
Oh, that'd be such a dick finish. That'd be a Roman Reigns thing.
That
to do.
is a Kevin Owens, Seth Rollins chicken shit heel finish.
Yeah.
But the heat you would get from that would be like, imagine Sami Zayn finally wins and then Kevin Owens is like, sorry, bud. Boom! 30-second title reign.
I've got better booking for Money in the Bank though. Sammy gets knocked off the top of the ladder, rolls to the outside. Suddenly, a masked man no one's ever seen before hops in the ring. JBL's like, "Who's this generic-looking guy?"
Oh my god!
Yes.
Land of opportunity, Maggle.
And he leaves with the briefcase, and then we don't see El Generico anymore until he's ready to cash in, and it's just Sammy.
Let's do it. I love it.
I'm in. Just
book it.
Weird, stupid shit, but I'm in.
Ugh.
We brought up Raw Fatal 5-Way to determine the number one contender for the supposed Universal Championship that exists. We haven't seen in over a month. It is Roman Reigns versus Finn Balor versus Samoa Joe versus Seth Rollins versus who am I forgetting?
You said Samoa Joe.
Joe.
Said Rollins.
Joe. Rollins. Roman. Finn.
Dean.
Dean. Thank you.
I think this can
go.
go.
No, it's not Dean.
No, it isn't Dean. It's
Dean's got his
I'm trying to do the Heyman promo in my head right now.
God damn it! I'm gonna look this up.
I got it.
Roman Rollins.
We're really.
Who's the other heel?
This is how forgettable Raw is.
Bray
this
Wyatt.
Really happened.
Wyatt,
2 days ago.
Bray Wyatt. Yikes!
Yeah.
Woof. That says a lot about that. We forgot that.
Yeah, I mean, forgettable.
So Finn's gonna win, right? Tell me Finn's gonna win.
I see 3 different scenarios happening here, especially after that Heyman promo. One, Heyman is just telling it on the nose and trying to build up an undersized person as a legitimate threat to the Beast and getting the crowd like, oh yeah, that is kind of possible. And that's them just telling you this is happening. They've done it before. They've beat us over the head with a hammer saying this is happening, and they give it to Finn. 2, this is Heyman trying to get in Balor's head, knowing he's the weakest person, and encouraging, like, how can I phrase this? Like, knowing Balor's the weakest person, hyping him up because he know Brock would have the best chance against him. And then option 3 in my crazy fantasy world is Brock loses the title and Heyman's just like, yeah, fuck it, we're doing Bullet Club, let's go, and I'm going to manage the Bullet Club. Because the way he gushed about Finn, he hasn't talked about anyone like that in a long time. So either he's building up the crowd to say, like, this is happening, like, he can beat Lesnar. He's trying to get the worst possible person for the best possible odds for Lesnar because he is his advocate. Or they're teasing like, hey, Balor's not the best talker. I think you're a great guy. I respect you. Maybe let's do business when Brock goes away.
I like option number 2 when you look at the booking that, yeah, he could beat Finn Balor because he's tiny, but he can't handle the demon.
Ooh, I like that. Give me that.
So that seems something they would do. It's also Finn. Give Finn the title. Put it on him now. Give him his second reign. Return the title home. I'm too biased for this, Tom.
No, it's legitimate though. I mean, it's the right thing to do. So they're not going to do it, but it's the right path to go. I mean, because he was going to have the title in the first place. He should probably still have the title, at least given the opportunity. Because, again, he got screwed out of it because of his shoulder. I mean, and they were prepared to ride that pony before. So why not ride it again? And obviously they need to get the title off of Lesnar. Because Lesnar's just the guy who has the champion of the universe.
Who? That exists? I haven't seen this guy.
There's a title?
Yeah.
He's been defending on Neptune. Anyway.
He's so great. That's an Aerostar type gimmick.
Let's not talk about the stairs. But to get the belt off of him and to put it on someone, I mean, they've done pretty much everyone else. Put it back on Finn. I mean, and I like all three. I mean, the first possibility Kris talked about was the initial one that I thought of. I liked the concept of 2, and I love the concept of 3, but that's not going to happen. But I want it to happen, so
yeah,
whatever. But that's dream booking. But regardless, I mean, they have to be focusing on Finn here, and we'll see it next week because Finn's got the 3-way dance with what is it? Wyatt and Joe, which he'll win because, again, we need to establish the fact that he's strong enough that he actually can pull this off with all these other guys.
Also, can we dispel the notion that just because someone is smaller that they can't win a match? Like, I've always hated that, like, oh, he's too small to beat Brock Lesnar. Like, that's the whole point of an underdog. That's the whole point. Like, Buster Douglas beat Mike Tyson. Like, things happen. Like, this is a scripted show. Like,
God damn it. Kris, what the fuck are you talking about? He's got to be big. He's got to be big.
I've always just found that notion crazy. Like, oh, man, there's no way in the scripted show this big person can lose to a small person. Like, no, that by definition, that's sports. Like, Golden State Warriors blew a 3-1 lead. Like, it happens all the time in sports. So it even works to, like, your sports entertainment narrative. Like, it works in your entertainment narrative. Like, it just happens.
But put it in the context that this is being booked by a guy that started the World Bodybuilding Federation.
Oh, yeah, that's
true. Tried to sell all the ICO Pro.
Thank you for bringing up heroic underdog LeBron James.
He gives good hugs. I can tell you that.
I've always found that, like, people that are like, oh, it's not believable that Finn Balor can beat Brock Lesnar. Are you fucking kidding me? It's also, like, not believable that Alexa Bliss is going to be in a kendo stick on a pole match when it's happening. Which, by the way...
Bro, what if you put the kendo stick on a pole, bro?
Look, bro, and then after that, it's going to be sick, bro. The ratings are going to pop, and then, bro, just trust me, 10 million a night.
And then we're going to put the belt on our kid. All right, anyway.
But yeah, also, just want to say, big fan of Bliss on a kendo stick on a pole on a match.
Yeah.
I am an unashamed Bliss stan. I love her. I loved her since her glitter, glitz, sparkle Bliss days in NXT.
Yup.
She's the greatest. She's an incredible story about her battling, like, anorexia. Like, she's just a cool person. I love her. Want to hug her.
It's Bayley's gimmick. It's infringement.
But yeah, back to Extreme Rules. Sorry, I just have to talk about Bliss whenever I can.
It's okay. We understand.
Do we have any more comments on Extreme Rules? On that Fatal 5-Way?
I'm just so tuned out of Raw. It just feels so formulaic. It's
Monday Night Raw? No, say it isn't so.
It's just like, okay, there's going to be the Extreme Rules Fatal 5-Way. Someone's going to win. They get a challenge Brock, and then, oh no, Braun Strowman's going to come back. Oh, he's 4 months early, and then we're going to have that, and then it's all going to lead to, like, Brock putting over fucking Roman at WrestleMania next year. It's like, it's...
Can I give you a fun fantasy booking my mom mentioned the other day?
Yeah.
Which is the weirdest sentence I may have ever said in my life. Post shakeup next year, a Braun Strowman Baron Corbin feud.
Oh my god, yeah.
Right? She said that.
Bunch of hosses.
I was like, holy shit, Mom, that sounds amazing. So there you go.
I'm still not finished with you yet.
Well, I'm done with you.
Anybody watched any Best of Super Juniors this week? I have not.
I watched like a match or two, but just because I like to watch random matches with no commentary in gymnasiums.
Huh?
I think that's what turns me off on most of these shows.
Yeah, the venues are very like, eh.
I mean, it's a great concept. It's a crappy concept for television, but it's a great concept for wrestling in general. You're going to this regional show, this house show basically, and this match actually counts.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, in America, we go to house shows. We know no titles are going to change hands. We know that nothing of importance is going to happen. We're just seeing the performers that we see on TV do their planned matches, the same kind of matches that they do at the various other spots across the country. And that's it, and we like that, but that's fine. Here you're having matchups that you wouldn't necessarily have, again, in-house shows, and their outcomes actually mean something. So, I mean, it's cool for that. It's, for those of us watching on, New Japan World, that watching this, Steadicam pretty much just mounted to high school gymnasium, and watching these guys come out to absolutely no commentary and please stay in the ring because we can't actually follow you if you leave the ring. But I've enjoyed the couple of matches. I pick and choose the matches I've been watching, and especially please let Liger win a match. I mean, it's his last Super Juniors.
I was gonna say, he's mathematically eliminated now.
Yeah, he's already out.
I mean, I wasn't expecting him to win, but I just need him to not get completely shut out.
Yeah, he'll win one. He'll probably win the last night.
He'll win against someone important potentially.
Has he wrestled Tai Chi yet? Because that sounds like the match I want him to win. He is not. All right, great. Block A, 3 men tied at the top: Dragon Lee, Marty Scurll, Will Ospreay. Block B, 1 man at the top: El Desperado.
Yeah, the only match I saw so far was Ospreay versus Marty, and that was pretty nice.
Anyway,
I just got my Marty sweater in the mail. I'm very happy. It's the villain one. Very nice.
Nice. You know what's also really nice?
What's that?
When you go to cheatersneverpin.com and you click on the Patreon button.
I love this.
I've gotten so good at them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So I gotta pause the music. So I'm really glad to know that kills, because we never get to hear the reactions of people listening to this.
Yeah.
So having a live studio audience guest is really appreciated.
It is Jericho-esque. He's like, that was really great, guys, and we're going to talk about that in a second. But let's talk about the TrueCar app. I've been riding around in my 2016 Escalade. Thanks, my buddies over at TrueCar. I love his, just thank you. I love, podcast ad segs. Sorry, bye.
God damn, we got to give it up for the TrueCar.
Give me a big swig of beer to my buddy at DDP Yoga.
Get your credit score for the working man. All right, back to the ad read. So, if you go to cheatersneverpin.com and you click on the Patreon button on the front page, you have earned the privilege of, by clicking that button, to donate whatever you choose a month to this fine media network of Section 328, whether that be $1, $2, $5, or $30 if you want Tom and I to watch something and record a special episode with commentary
just
about
for
it.
you.
Just for you. And
you don't have to share it with anyone.
It'll go up on the feed so everyone will hear it. But you'll get to pick.
Okay.
But you'll get it first, and you get to pick the thing.
I mean, you could technically stop the internet.
I mean, you could. I don't know how, but
I'll just let you read.
Yeah, I'm not reading anything. This is off the top of my head. Can you not feel the flow? Anyway, if you go to patreon.com, just for whatever you want to give us every month is a little thank you for doing the show. It covers our costs for hosting and the equipment and getting great guests like Kris, who don't make any of that money, but I just felt like I'd throw that in because it sounded like something I should say.
Well, maybe we could fly him in next time.
Yeah!
So if you want to give us $1,000, we'll fly Kris in.
Look,
how about we just go see him?
What? Okay, look.
Oh yeah, I'd rather go to Florida actually.
I'll add to your Patreon. If someone donates $1,000, I will personally fly to North Carolina and you can put me through a table.
Please.
Ooh.
Please find $1,000. Somewhere out there, someone has $1,000. You're like, what the fuck do I do with this money? You go to cheatersneverpin.com and you click the Patreon button and give it to us. And we thank you for being a patron of Cheaters Never Pin. Damn straight.
Yeah, I'll do a table spot.
Who gets to put... so, thank you for being so giving. It's not the two hosts of the show going through the table. No, it's a guest.
I'm trying to get over so you guys have me back on.
Jesus.
I gotta pop the crowd.
You're over with... You popped the monitor already, so... all right, let's move on to the 10 count, because we have run quite long this evening.
I'm shocked.
Yeah, that never happens. The 10 counts, 10 news items in wrestling. You might have missed, maybe you didn't. I don't really give a shit. It's 10 things I want to talk about and not spend much time on. Number 1, because I have just such an eggplant for Progress, they always get a spot here. Number 1, Progress is having a show in New York City on August 12th in a partnership with Evolve. Exciting. I love Progress.
Sounds
Where's it
pretty
being
sweet.
held in the city?
It's in
Is it
Queens.
Hammerstein? Or?
It's in Queens.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Evolve generally runs Queens, and this is in
Yeah.
Queens. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just want to share. It's fun. They're coming back to the States. It'll be the debut for a lot of people in the States, so that'll be great.
Not a big fan
Nice.
of Queens.
Rude. What if we have listeners in Queens? What if the one listener in Queens that had $1,000 you just pissed him off, Tom?
Well, then obviously I have to go through the table.
All right, there we go. I like how I'm getting everyone to go through a table but me. This is great. Number 2, I don't even know where to start with this one. Ed Nordholm from Anthem and Impact and the Owl.
Fuck that owl.
Fuck that owl. Released a lot of legal communication and bits of Matt Hardy's contract and communication he had with people within WWE, basically saying that WWE doesn't want the gimmick and they weren't aware that anyone within the company might want the gimmick, and the parts of the contract say that they own the gimmick, and this is the feud of the year.
Yeah. I think the key phrase there is parts of the contracts. There's some really big omissions there.
Right. And
I don't.
And Matt and especially Rebby, because she's real level-headed most of the time. They're
I love her.
They're
She's
maintaining
like
their rights.
She's like my PTA mom.
She's great. But anyway, that saga continues. Number 3, and this one's kind of sad. Which we had to add something sad because nobody died this week. God damn it!
Jeez.
Yay?
Maybe, I don't know. I feel like it ruins the gimmick. What Culture Pro Wrestling over in the UK actually had to cancel tapings of their, was it Loaded? Yeah, Loaded, their weekly show they put up on YouTube. Basically due to lack of funding, because YouTube has changed their advertiser content policies to where pro wrestling counts as like non-premium, almost kind of weird, explicit content, so it doesn't make as much money. So, for instance, they had one video...
Yeah, I pulled the numbers for this. I did my research.
Yeah, they had one video that was Rey Mysterio and Alberto Del Rio, and it drew over 1 million views, and they made $40.
Yeah, and they said basically that's a 50th of what it would normally make. So basically, they would get $2,200 in ad revenue from that normally.
Yeah.
So like a catastrophic drop off.
Yeah, so they've canceled a taping. They're running an iPay-per-view on their service in place of it, but it just kind of sucks. And I feel like this is not, unless these policies change, this is not the first promotion we're going to hear say this.
Yeah,
because you look at like, especially around here, like CWF Mid-Atlantic runs their weekly show on TV, and I don't know how much. I'm sure it doesn't cost. Well, production costs, I'm sure, some money, but I don't think they're making a ton, but I'm sure it hurts their bottom line. Yeah,
I mean, if you have a couple of matches that pull over 1 million views, you're looking at $2,000 consistently, and to drop from that to $44, like you can't even pay talent to show up at that point.
Yeah, you barely turn on the lights.
Yeah, it sucks.
Number 4, the WWE Women's Tournament is officially announced, and tickets go on sale this Friday. The tournament will be the Mae Young Classic.
I am shocked it is not the Stephanie McMahon, Women's Evolution Trademark Invitational. Like, I don't know how someone approved it to be someone besides Steph, but Yeah, I'm really excited for this. I know like Mae Young has a history of being somewhat problematic, but it's better than Moolah, so
Yep. I say you didn't name it the Pimp Classic, so
yeah.
it's definitely not Moolah.
I just this is going to be really, really good, but I heard it's only going to be 2 days.
Yeah, it's a lot more compressed than the CWC.
Damn. I don't know. I'm really excited for this. I've been typing this for a lot of my friends in our group chat, trying to find a way to get off work to drive up for it, but I don't know how I'm going to swing that.
Nice. Well, we need a correspondent, so there you go.
Live on the beat.
There you go. Tom, thoughts on the women's tournament?
No, I was trying to figure out what else you could name it, because again, how you mentioned the Mae Young being not necessarily the greatest name to stick with the tournament, but obviously you're not going to use Moolah's name, and really there haven't been any other women historically that have kind of brought that kind of prominence to be named after a tournament.
Yeah, that is true.
WWE. So it's like, where do you go? You're not going to name it like the Trish Stratus Classic or something like that. That's kind of a little too recent. And
right.
So it's outside of naming it. I mean, Mildred Burke didn't wrestle for the company. It's tough where either you don't name it anything and you just kind of name it like the Women's Classic.
Right.
Or, I mean, it symbolically, I guess it's.
Yeah, it's like the Dusty Classic too. So
yeah.
Number 5, Jim Ross is coming back to do commentary for the tournament.
Oh hell yeah!
By God, he was good this week. It was so nice hearing him 2 days in a row.
I think he's going to be great for me in limited doses. Like I want to hear him do a couple of matches, but I don't want to hear him constantly.
Agreed.
Like doing Raw or SmackDown or something like that. So I'll take this. I'll take him in the UK, event. I'll take him for the women's tournament. Take him for a match here and a match there. It's good. It's a good quotient for him, because I don't want to see him doing stuff regularly, because I think it is gonna kind of overexpose him a little bit, because he unfortunately, and I may get struck down for saying this, but he's not the announcer that he has been. So,
all right, in the weird ass wrestling news story of the week.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's see if I get all these facts straight. So after the death, this is a CMLL story. After the death of Brazo de Oro, who was basically the wrestlers' union leader in CMLL, they had to have a meeting to determine who was going to be the next union leader and everything. And apparently, there was a lot of contention at this meeting, and that they named someone outside of that family, and that family was real not happy about it, to lead the union. So, in order to get justice, they attacked Ultimo Guerrero's car in a parking garage. And there's video of the incident.
Yeah.
Where you see the World Heavyweight Champion of CMLL, Maximo Sexy, La Mascara, who is Brazo de Oro's son, Brazo de Platino, Psycho Clown, and Robin standing around while other people beat up the car. Maximo Sexy, La Mascara, and some other guy named Bobby Villa, who was tied into this somehow, have all been fired from CMLL. What the fuck?
Yeah, it's a pretty heavy story.
Just seems like a Law and Order episode.
Dun, dun.
They destroyed a Guerrero's car. And then, what?
Could this have happened anywhere else but Mexico, though?
I don't think so.
No. This seems like some shit that would happen in AAA, though, not CMLL.
Also, let's bring up the fact that Mexico, as much as we want to criticize or whatever, actually has a wrestlers union, whereas the United States does not.
Well, they're independent contractors, Tom.
It's in their best interest.
Right, yeah. It protects them. Number 7. The broadcast schedule for the New Japan G1 special in USA has been announced. I love saying that name. It will air the first day, July 1st, will air live on Access TV. The second day, July 2nd, will air live on New Japan World. So that's number 7. Number 8 is the fact that New Japan announced that they would be crowning the first ever U.S. champion during this in a tournament that will take place over the course of the special. Who is winning this, and why is it Kenny Omega?
You think?
I mean, if they want to expand into U.S. in 2018, you got to have either him.
Yeah,
you've got to have.
He's a massive. Like,
I don't know
phase
who
2.
else. I don't know who else you give that belt to. I mean, realistically, unless maybe Cody,
Big Mike.
Cody would work, and Cody has he already has the charisma, and he's already dressed up always.
Yeah,
he's a very good ambassador, and he's already known in the U.S.
True.
Yeah.
I mean, I see them slapping it on a heel first, so then you can have the face chase.
Yeah.
To start. So
You're gonna put it on Omega and just have every United States champion be a Canadian?
Yeah.
That'll work.
Okay.
Number 9, former TNA talent Kenny King is on The Bachelorette this season. So
Jim Cornette's excited about that.
And then number 10, Xavier Woods' wife gave birth to a beautiful baby.
That's awesome. Congratulations to the couple.
Number 10 is the exact opposite of usual.
That's what I was thinking. It's just the complete polar opposite of what number 10 normally is. So,
Yeah. So that means next week, all 10 are probably deaths.
yes.
All right, Tom, you ready for the greatest music cue in the history of podcasting?
I'm sitting down. I'm ready.
You ready? Here we go.
Yep.
It's time. Ah, God damn it, it's too quiet. Let's try this again.
Do it again.
Tom.
Yes.
Tom, it's time. Magic Train. It still makes me laugh. I gotta find my page where I have our ratings written down. All right, so while I do that, I'll read my notes. So Tom, you gave me from AWA the Midnight Rockers versus Doug Summers and Buddy Rose. And I'm gonna keep my notes real brief on that. I'm just basically gonna read my notes word for word.
Okay.
In the interest of time. Buddy Rose is the definition of pear-shaped.
That is accurate.
I'm real disturbed by the fact Shawn Michaels' eyes actually both point in the correct direction. It's still really inappropriate to gig 4 minutes into a match.
Not for that one.
They keep calling Buddy Rose Doughboy. Dear Lord, can you get less heat on the babyface, please? Because Shawn Michaels sold for 15 minutes.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Vince wishes crowds were this hot today. Because that crowd was lit.
Yeah.
Raw totally would have taken a commercial break during this heat segment. And then it ends in a DQ. Yawn. 2 stars. I did not enjoy it that much. I'm sorry. I knew you'd be disappointed in me.
It's okay. Yeah, I threw that. I throw a lot of matches at you that I kind of grew up with or were symbolic of me in that time frame. So
yeah,
if you don't appreciate,
and it's not even that. Just it wasn't a good match.
But you have to put it in the context of watching it at 4 p.m. on ESPN after you got home from school.
Yeah, but that doesn't make the match any better, Tom. It's still a shitty match. You got Shawn Michaels selling for 15 minutes. You got everybody flailing around like they're fucking Stevie Wonder in there and can't see shit. It was bad, Tom. I'm sorry.
You're so wrong.
I'm not.
But, okay.
All right, you watched Sexy Star versus Mariposa in a no mas match.
Oh, I loved that match.
And here I am complaining about people gigging 4 minutes into a match. Go on.
No mas!
So, Sexy Star has, like, the abs that only, like, Finn Balor can appreciate.
Right.
Like, Jesus Christ. But, yeah, I mean, that match was all over the place. I don't have detailed notes like you do. But, yeah, I mean, you built the drama to it. It I don't know. It's, you also put that match a little too close to the Vampiro Pentagon Jr. match.
Right. Okay.
Which also was,
that first season of
violence.
Lucha was so good.
So good.
And yeah, I mean, any kind of a I Quit match you can appreciate, and just especially if it tells a good enough story, and this one did. But yeah, you seem to like to give me Lucha Underground matches, and you seem to like making women bleed. So I don't know. I'm not going to interpret any of that, but it was a quality match. I will give it 3 1/4.
Okay, that's fair. I just love Sexy Star yelling, "Fuck you, Mariposa!" When I heard that on TV, I was like, "Oh shit, they didn't edit that." That's great.
El Rey is just extreme like that.
I don't even know what goes on that channel. All right, so we have a special way of doing the match exchange since we have a guest. And we're going to let Kris bestow a match upon both Tom and I to watch for next week.
I'm concerned.
Can I give you each a different match?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Since I think Tom, you said you're still catching up on Best of Super Juniors.
Yeah.
Have you seen Ospreay versus Marty?
I have seen this year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Darn it. Well, I've been doing lots of whoop whoops, so let's do Marty versus Adam Cole at Super Card of Honor.
Okay.
Ooh, okay.
That was a fun one. That was actually a really solid pay-per-view.
Yeah.
There was a killer match towards the end. I think it was Jay White, Volador Jr., Ospreay, and someone else. It was a tag match, but it was ridiculous. I mean, anytime you have those people in the ring, it's going to be wild. Actually, watch that instead.
Okay.
I'll pull it up right now. Give me 2 seconds. I know it was Jay White, Ospreay, and Volador.
Nice.
And Dragon Lee. Yeah, Jay White and Dragon Lee versus Will Ospreay and Volador Jr. at Super Card of Honor.
That sounds
It
great.
was fun.
I'm excited for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That'll be fun. All right, Kris, you got anything you want to plug as we go home here?
Just want to say I'm really glad I cashed in my podcast Money in the Bank. Hopefully we pop a rating. So
Let's hope.
if you enjoy this episode, just keep tweeting at Cheaters Never Pin to bring me back. Trying to get over, just trying to play a complete 100-foot game, trying to put pucks in deep. Bounces didn't come our way, but we'll get them next game.
All right. Tom, tell the people where they can find you on the internet.
Go to the Twitter machines, look for at Mr. Workrate, at MR Workrate, and just do that. Don't do the other stuff. I'm not in the other stuff. I can't do Snapchat. That stuff's, those filters are weird, man. Just don't even bother.
Kris forgot to plug. He's at Trash Newton on Twitter.
Oh yeah, I'm really bad at branding. Also, I have a small record label I run with my best friend. We're called Whelms Records. If you like indie rock, pop punk, math rock, stuff like that, check us out. Whelms Records on all social. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, SoundCloud, YouTube. Also, all of our artists are on Spotify and Apple Music, Amazon, Play, Tidal, all that good stuff.
Nice. I am at JCBOBBITT on the Twitter and the Instagram. You can find me there. You can find the show on Facebook at facebook.com/cheatersneverpinned. You can give us a big blue thumbs up there. You can find the show on Instagram at Cheaters Never Pin, which I will be using heavily this coming Saturday as I go to the Raw House show in Greensboro, North Carolina.
Nice.
And attempt not to get arrested when Finn Balor comes out for rushing the ring.
I love Finn. Oh, Fergal.
Yeah. If not, it's going to be me and Kris doing the show next week.
Yeah,
so.
This is really just preparing you for my stay in prison.
All right. See what I can do.
You can also find the show on Twitter at CheatersNVRPin. And then, of course, as always, rate, review, and subscribe on whatever platform you're listening to us on: iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, TuneIn, SoundCloud, YouTube, and Spreaker. Nice.
Use the Alexa thing. That works.
Yeah. And the really exciting thing, if you have an Amazon Dot or an Amazon Echo, since we're on TuneIn, you can tell her, whose name I will not say because I will activate my own. You could say, Alexa, play Cheaters.
So if I said, hey, Alexa, remind me at 4:20 tomorrow to go to Taco Bell, would that work?
I mean, I'm wearing a headset, so no. Yeah. So if you tell her, listen to Cheaters Never Pin on TuneIn, the latest episode of this podcast will be streaming throughout your house in front of your children.
It's beautiful.
Take that for what
to be warned.
Hi, kids. Go to college.
Anyway, yeah. Well, fun show. Thank you for joining us today, Kris. It's been fun, man.
I'm honored. Thank you for having me.
We will. We'll have you back again soon.
Sweet.
And for all of us here at the Section 328 Media Empire, myself, Tom,
Hey.
Bye.
I'm still here.
Yep. Give him a witty outro, Tom.
But you're the one that does the catchphrase.
That's true. Is it officially a catchphrase now?
I think so.
All right, let me start over. So, for Tom, myself, Kris, thanks for listening, and we'll catch you on the flip side.